Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to an epic Wednesday edition of the Slate, the highest rated edition of the Slate, week in and week out. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Fowler. Well, I just want to hear you breathe.
That's a lovely shirt, Mr. Lazia.
Dude, you've got a great shirt on, too.
Right there.
Here we go. Little PGA championship and a little bit of pack and chest. Jeff, what's up? Good to see you.
Thanks for that PGA shirt, guys. It's awesome.
Well, hey, not a problem.
I think yours is like, that's the one I got for you, right?
Yeah. That's the one you got for me. This is a great one.
Harding Park, the one that Morikawa won.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff. Sorry, Jeff. Are you?
Dude, this is a Colin Morikawa shirt. He rocks this exact same shirt, except
dude, I saw that shirt in the store and I was like, that's got Lazia written all over it.
Yeah.
I FaceTimed you in the store. We talked to the person that was helping us. She was like, yeah, that guy looks like this shirt. This shirt looks like this. So
I know. And then Andrew on the ones and twos says, meanwhile, Jeff is wearing a Gap crew neck.
Something like that.
Dude, I've shopped at Baby Gap before for sure, man. Some of them tight shirts.
Okay. Y'all know that's Old Navy.
Old Navy, great price.
Ralph, it's actually Ralph Lauren, I do believe.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay. Fancy, real fancy up there north of the border. Guys, we're going to get into some golf. We can look back on the TPC here coming up. It's been kind of a busy day around the NFL. I mean, I feel like every day has been pretty busy. Reed, congrats. You have a new player on your team. So you guys have, right? You traded for Chandler Jones?
Yeah.
Is that, did you trade for him or was he a free agent?
No, he was a free agent.
He was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so was it 3 years, like 50 something million? And I think he's like 32, bro. You guys traded away Yannick Ngakoue to the Colts, which I hate because now he's going to be playing the Jags twice here. He's like 27. And then you guys spend all that money, bro, on this like 32-year-old who's missed like 13 games or something the past couple of years. You like this deal though? Is this going to pay off for you?
Well, you need some stability, right? At a good price, right? That's the one thing that you want as an NFL team is, especially if you're Josh McDaniels, you want some stability. You need some leadership on that team. And look, I'm not in the Death Star locker room. I'm not hearing what Yannick Ngakoue is doing, but it just seems to me that marriage, and look, it was great. He was playing opposite side of Max Crosby, and Max Crosby is the guy. Clelin Ferrell was not when they made that pick way back when, a 4th overall pick with Clelin Ferrell. I did not like it one bit, but I digress. And Chandler Jones, when he's healthy, guys, when he is one of the best defensive ends that gets to the quarterback. And what do you need in this division? It is the hardest and toughest the division, right? In the NFL. I think that's non-negotiable, right? With who's there, the quarterbacks, under center, not named Derek Carr. So you need to get to the quarterback 6 times a year. And that's what Chandler Jones can do. Can he stay healthy? Please. And that's why you're not seeing this 5-year type of deal. It's 3 years. He's older, like you mentioned. He's a little bit on the unhealthy side. So I like it.
Hey, congrats also on you're expected to sign another former Patriot, Brandon Bolden, running back there for you.
Yeah. Brendan Glasheen is sad about it on Twitter, but
yeah, I know. I had the option recently. I clicked on his profile and I said, see tweets less. So I didn't exactly mute him. So I'm sure his toe picks or something will pop up on my timeline randomly. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot.
Is that worse though? Like see tweets less as opposed to just mute?
No, it's like it's like a warning shot, even though he doesn't know that I'm fired.
Okay. You're on probation. Got it.
I'll just text him. Jeff, another running back news. We're gonna get to Deshaun Watson here real quick, but I have to make sure we get to this one point that I know you've been begging to make over the past few days. Reed's James Conner has signed a 3-year deal with Arizona. Chase Edmonds is now he was the odd man out, so he's taking his talents to Miami here.
South Beach.
Hey, doing the LeBron thing.
That really worked out for LeBron.
Hey, he got a title.
He got 2 titles.
He got 1, 5 less than he proclaimed with Chris Bosh and D Wade on stage. But go ahead, Jeff.
Jeff, you honestly believe he could be a sneaky DFS play and outscore James get to the chopper Connor this season?
With the 45 running backs in Miami.
James is going to get to the chopper, all right, because he's not scoring 15 touchdowns again. Good luck with that, riding the touchdown variance with James Conner next year. Look, Connor's gonna be in a role. I wouldn't be shocked if Arizona also added a running back draft, so just keep an eye on that. But here's who Edmonds has to deal with on the depth chart in Miami. The Duke of Johnson, Myles Gaskin, Patrick Laird and Saber, and Sal Ahmed. I mean, this is not a who's who of like running back. Like, this isn't a committee. This is Chase Edmonds' backfield, dude. I mean, he's averaged 5 yards per carry in 2 of his last 3 years. It's a fantastic receiver. I think he's going to handle a pretty big workload here. And yeah, I mean, Myles Gaskin will probably still get worked in, but like, it's not really, there's no James Conner here to like siphon off. And there's no Cliff Kingsbury to give James Conner the carries. I think that, the new coach, oh my God, what's their new coach?
What is his name? I can't remember. He's yes,
Daniel.
Daniel.
I think Mike McDaniel's going to play. Mike McDaniel, excuse me, is smart enough to just go with the good player, which is exactly what he's going to do. So I love this situation for Edmonds. I'm not shocked that the Dolphins did the smart thing and got him on like an affordable 2-year contract. And yeah, I'm going to make a hot take. I think Chase Edmonds outscores James Conner in fantasy next year.
So
Reti Fowler, go ahead.
So here's a couple of things. While I agree about the player profile of Jeff and why he likes him, that's just the type of running back that Jeff likes. We know that. It's like the type of running back that a lot of people like. Football teams like, right?
Good
Fantasy.
Back.
Well, that's where I'm going to get to, right? Is he a good running back? And while he's flash and while he's extremely talented, he's also a guy that couldn't beat out James Conner, couldn't beat out Kenyon Drake for the starting role, right? And I like, that's the part that scares me. It's the same, and I hate to bring this up, but this is the first thing that comes to my mind. It's the same thing with Nick Foles on why everyone thinks, like, I don't think they're apples to apples. Chase Edmonds is to the running backs that Nick Foles is to the quarterbacks. But if Nick Foles was so good, why is he on 15 different teams in 3 years? If Chase Edmonds is such a good running back, why did Arizona not elect to keep him? Why did he not get the starting bid over Kenyon Drake, who now the industry knows or thinks that he's not a good running back? If James Conner is just touchdown variant, why didn't Chase Edmonds get more carries? And why wasn't it more of a 50-50 split? That's what scares me. And if you look at San Francisco, right, where this guy was the offensive coordinator, McDaniel, before now becoming the head coach, look at the running back, like look at the offense that they've had. Look, Shanahan was the guy, right, to run that offense, but he was the offensive coordinator. They've had a stable of running backs every single time. Raheem Mostert, Jerick McKinnon, right? That's the type of Jeff Wilson. That's the type of offense that this guy runs. So if you want it for fantasy, look, those names are not as good as Chase Edmonds. I agree with Jeff. Like, those names aren't as good as the ceiling of Chase Edmonds. I just don't think that he's a guy that you want to be drafting in your season long, maybe DFS if he's under, $4,500 and Laird and these guys are declared inactive. But I just don't see it yet. I don't see it. And then Tua doesn't throw to his running backs. He just doesn't, or else Myles Gaskin would be a guy that we play every single week.
Yep. I just had to get those like 2 little nuggets off the top of the show. We all obviously know the biggest story right now are these Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. Where is the best landing spot, Jeff, for Deshaun Watson's fantasy value?
I mean, I think it's Atlanta. Everyone's going to complain about the lack of wide receivers there and stuff like that. But I mean, I said that this morning, like
what's your pitch to him though? What is your pitch? What is your pitch to Deshaun Watson if you're Atlanta though?
Oh, you're going to be able to throw the ball 50 times a game. You're going to have monster stats. We don't have a defense. We don't get sacks on the quarterback. We don't really have that much talent. We're not running the ball because we don't even have a running back. And I mean, we're chucking it. We got Kyle Pitts out there. We got some decent young receivers. I mean, they're not star names, but like Christian Blake can play. We'll probably draft a wide receiver with one of our top draft picks as well, and maybe even bring someone else in. And you're going to be chucking you're going to put up monster stats, just like you did in Houston. It's going to be the same thing. And you're going to be able to rebuild your image that way. And you know what? When Brady retires next year or he moves on again, we'll have the division. So that's our pitch. Also, I mean, like Deshaun Watson's, grew up around Atlanta. So I don't think that's to pitch him much just from that perspective, but
I think his heart is there. Yes.
For fantasy, that's the best spot. I really do believe that. But if we're talking all the fantasy impacts, it doesn't mean the Falcons are going to be good. You know, like DeAndre Swift was a great fantasy player last year. He was on the Lions. They stunk unless you're Pierce Dietrich. So, yeah, I think Atlanta is potentially like the most fantasy friendly environment. He's also going to get to play like some bad teams a couple times a year, right? So, well, at least Carolina. I'm not really sure what the Saints are going to be like, but I don't know. Like Cleveland, the problem with Cleveland is Kevin Stefanski. He's going to run the ball. Like, yeah, it would be better for real life purposes, and I think Deshaun Watson would give that team a real chance to win. But if we're talking fantasy and you want like to see the ceiling of Deshaun Watson, it's got to be one of these dome teams, and I think Atlanta's the best fit.
Okay, Reed, I brought this up to Jeff and I believe it was Pierce this morning. They kind of laughed at me. I said, I would think that like maybe Seattle should be at the top of the list. Very, very similar with no defense. You do have better weapons, so you're going to be throwing the hell out of the football.
He's already said no to Seattle. He's already
he has.
Yeah.
All right, so Seattle.
He said, I'm not going to Seattle. Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. What are you saying, Reed?
Yeah, no to Seattle.
No to Seattle. Okay, I thought you meant no to Jeff, which Jeff was saying. He was saying.
Well,
no,
yeah.
Okay.
Perpetually,
all right, well,
this is assigned to Jeff.
Okay,
maybe another finger for Jeff.
That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so then Reed, you have there's 3 NFC South teams then, right? And then there are the Browns. Those are the 4 teams I believe now reported to have met with them. So which do you think is the best place for him? Do you agree with Jeff that it would be Atlanta, or could it be like a Saints?
I don't think it's the same. I mean, I would like to see him on the Saints. I think that would be very interesting. If you want to keep some guys around like Kamara and Michael Thomas for longer than their potential contracts and their extensions play out, then yeah, you're going to need a quarterback, because it ain't like, I love Jameis. I love, famous Jameis for fantasy purposes, but that's just not it, right? It's not going to be it. It's not sustainable to have him back there. So yeah, the Saints do seem like a team that would fit, but I agree with Jeff that the Falcons on both sides, it makes sense, right? They didn't restructure Matt Ryan's contract, so he's not going to get an extension whatsoever. So they're not going to move any of that salary cap. Looks like he's probably going to be moved. And Watson reached out to Atlanta personally. When you have both sides, if all the other stuff clears up, which, the grand jury did say that they're not going to, I think, criminally indict him or charge him criminally, right? I think that was the case, and I'm probably butchering everything, so please do your own research on that. But
definitely, please don't listen to us for like
right, exactly. Please, I did not say it like a Holiday Inn last night, so I don't know my legal jargon is off the radar. But I do think it's the Falcons, as Jeff mentioned, and if it is, Kyle Pitts is going to get 1,000 targets per game, because who else is there? Because Russell Gage, he left, right? He's at Tampa Bay. So it's going to be him and Cordell Patterson. And that seems like it's it for the Falcons.
I mean, Christian Blake can play a bit, and Olamide Zacchaeus, I can't remember.
Oh, that's not bad.
Close, probably there. They're not bad players. They're not terrible. I mean, we saw Zacchaeus show up a little bit, when he was put in that role with Matt Ryan, like I think it was 2 years ago with some decent games. So if I was in a dynasty league, I would be grabbing one of those names. Deshaun Watson could certainly turn them into like not the next DeAndre Hopkins, but I don't even know who I'm trying to think of. someone half decent, but like not a superstar, right? Like someone fantasy viable. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So
they still have to worry about Matt Ryan. We talked about that this morning on the show. There's like no cap flexibility with that team. They're like capped out. They're going to end up lacking even more draft picks. Like, to me, it seems like, and I don't know really what the best option is going to be for them. We know these teams can end up making anything work essentially if they want to, but it almost feels like a career killer. I'm just like, you're not going to have anything going on there. You're not going to have any help.
No, that's the thing though. If Deshaun Watson wants to go there, they'll make it work. They can backload it, whatever. And yeah, it's going to suck for at least a year because of the lack of cap space. But I mean, you got to believe that they could do it. And I know like everyone's in fits about, well, you can't have too much Ted cap space. You won't be able to sign other players. That's fine. You're right. But it doesn't mean it can't happen. Like it doesn't mean Deshaun Watson doesn't have his heart set on Atlanta. And Atlanta is like, we're just going to do everything to get Deshaun Watson, and we're just going to deal with it for a year. It doesn't mean they're not going to think like that. So it could happen. And this whole situation just seems like there's something going on. Like I would not be shocked if there's already been a deal done that Matt Ryan, the second they signed Deshaun Watson, is going to Indy or Cleveland or something like that. Because it just seems like it's been a little bit too quiet. And then we had the restructuring, and now we get the leak that he's talking to Atlanta. I'm not saying that's where he's going, because clearly, like, he's considering options, but I won't be shocked if he goes to Atlanta either, regardless of the current situation with the Cavs.
He's only 26 years old.
It's
right?
crazy, dude. Yeah, I think he'll be 27 right after the start of the season. Still young as hell, man.
Calvin Ridley, if he stays on the team, who knows what's going to happen with him, right? There's a lot out there right now. And we know Arthur Blank, we know the owner of that team is not someone to shy away from spending money to get back to where they were a handful of years ago, which was a very competitive team in the NFC, right? They just couldn't get over the hump. And look, I'm not saying that this is the case, but look, Julio Jones was just released by Tennessee, right? So now you start to think, okay, there are some players still out there that you could, right, bridge from one year to the next that you can stay competitive and put seats in the stands. So that's the other thing. Deshaun Watson is going to bring people, despite, look, I don't agree with what he did, real or not, but that guy's going to sell tickets. And that's the ugly truth of the NFL and most sporting events is there's a business on the bottom line, and that's what he's going to do. It's just because it's an interesting situation. I mean, Cleveland seems like the team that would benefit the most just from like a bump in the odds and stuff. But I don't know. Like, I really feel like this Atlanta thing has legs. I don't feel like it would have come up unless Watson was like very intent on wanting to go there. And there's obviously interest on both sides.
Trading Ryan would leave like a massive dead cap charge, but I think the Watson move, I think there are still the free agents that are still out there, some who could possibly sign on for cheap. I think the domino effect, especially in the quarterback market, is going to be huge with Deshaun Watson. And then I've heard multiple reports saying like there are other guys who are sitting back waiting to see where he signs because a lot of guys want to play with this dude. So that could be something where maybe some cheap veterans you bring on board. Like you saw yesterday is when the Browns reportedly met with Deshaun Watson, right? And then that's when Baker Mayfield sent out like his message. I mean, things are messy there in Cleveland. Like, Fowler, where do you see Baker Mayfield potentially ending up? He reportedly is interested in that Colts position, that open quarterback position there for the Colts.
Well, I'm sure he is.
I'm sure just because it's just quarterback needy team. Got the defense, you got weapons on offense.
And it's also, I'll let Reed go, but it's also basically the only place, well, maybe Seattle, where Baker's going to go and start next year.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Of course he's interested.
So he's going to be interested in having a job in a W-2 employee, like an actual, right, like paying taxes type of guy. But no, he's like, he would still pay his taxes if he was riding pine. But this guy was a number 1 overall pick and a Heisman Trophy winner. He is not sitting, right? He, like, as much as he wants, he's not going to sit. And Stefanski and the Browns have said, look, he's competitive and he's this and that. It's basically smokescreen for he's not going to be our starting quarterback, right? Like, it's just not the case. It hasn't worked out. It just has not worked out for Baker Mayfield. And yes, you could see him in that. I think the best type of core, like the best comp for him, which is weird to say in my mind, is like a less stronger arm version of Carson Wentz, which is poor decision making, can never, like, in these high leverage moments, can never make the right decision, but needs a really good running back or running game to be quote unquote not relevant but productive, right? To not screw up and to not give you mistakes. And that's why the Colts scale. Like, if you were the Colts, are you just getting another version of Carson Wentz, but not as strong of an arm? Right. And that's the thing that scares me about that. If he were the starting quarterback, that's why I think Seattle does make sense for Baker Mayfield, and he's going to want to play for a guy like Pete Carroll, which is more that college type of head coach. And that's Baker Mayfield's style. He absolutely excelled in college, right? That was his time. And he was great at Oklahoma. That's probably what you're going to want to do. And you have players in Seattle like DK Metcalf still. We don't know what Tyler Lockett's going to do. And there's still players out there that if you get someone who's better than Geno Smith right now, I think that is a viable option because, that's basically all he has, right? And going back to Deshaun Watson too, like what about Jeff's boy, Allen Robinson, right? Like where is Allen Robinson going to land? There's so many dominoes that still have to fall.
I mean, it's a nice thought, but I just don't know if Atlanta could do like Jarvis Landry is another name.
True.
Do they convince Jarvis Landry to just take like basically the league minimum and some like incentive money or something?
I think he's still too young for that, right?
It could happen. It could happen though. I mean,
type deal.
Look what Juju Smith-Schuster did last year, right? I mean, that's another guy actually was available. So yeah, that's why I do think this Atlanta thing could like maybe not work out to the point where they make the playoffs, but work out to the point where they at least get Deshaun Watson there and like a semi-viable receiver core with a couple veterans or something like that. So
I mean, those could be some of the guys who are sitting around waiting because they realize like the next chance that they get like will be quite possibly their last big chance to rejuvenate their career. At least give us some fantasy value again from those dudes.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry 29 now. I mean, Allen Robinson 28. Like these guys have been around for a few years. I mean, I was thinking too. Like Jarvis Landry has to be eyeing Green Bay a little bit, doesn't he? I mean, come in, work the underneath route, get like 100 targets from Aaron Rodgers, and get your Super Bowl and then just like cash in with like a $50 million contract next year. I mean, I don't know. Makes sense to me.
Sweet.
That would, dude, I would certainly go to Green Bay. Dude, A-Rob went there. Oh, hey Bears. Hey Bears twice a year.
Yeah, that would suck for the Bears.
Yeah, you're probably going to see like a lot of people are probably going to do what the Mets, like this is a copycat league. We said all the time. Teams are going to want to get their next Matt Stafford. And look, especially Jarvis Landry, look what OBJ did. Right. His deal was very incentive laden, I believe. And he wanted to go to a team where he could win a Super Bowl. And surprise, surprise. And like you could argue that he wasn't part of that Super Bowl win, but he was on the verge of breaking out in that final game. And then he got hurt, but he also did a lot leading up to that. Right. So Jarvis Landry, like OBJ almost went to the Packers. Right. Like, why not have Jarvis Landry there? It makes a lot of sense, right? That Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb type deal where now you have Devontae and someone like Jarvis. I think A-Rob is too much of a possession guy. But yeah, that would be fantastic to see. I would love it.
Let's see what's up with MVS. So he's set to be a free agent.
He's he's
a free agent now.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought he signed with someone.
It would obviously Landry, they would give him a viable number 2 option, which they have simply failed to find in recent years. Seeing the Chiefs could be interested. Oh man, that would be kind of scary to see Landry there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Jarvis, like he can, it's smart for him to wait. It's smart for all the receivers to wait. Right.
Yeah. I love it.
Unless you get a sweetheart deal like Alec Ingold with the Raiders signing a 2-year deal worth up to $7.5 million with the Dolphins, per our producer Eamon there. Like,
congratulations, man!
Unless you get a sweetheart deal, less carries for good old Chase Edmonds there, Jeff. No, unless you get a sweetheart deal, man, just wait. If you're Sammy Watkins, if you're AJ Green, if you're Jarvis, if you're any of these guys, T.Y. Hill, Sammy Watkins. Right. Like, I don't know if I mentioned him, but just wait.
Yeah. Sammy's week 1 only. Week 1, Sammy Watkins. And then you can forget him the next like 16, 17 weeks.
Yeah. He's the Dogecoin of football. Just buy it before.
Dudes, what do we have here? We got a little around 20 minutes to go. Let's shift gears to golf because the Players was just this grueling marathon. Grueling weather. They essentially lost like 2 days. You had guys playing like their second round Sunday morning. It was disgusting. The weather was terrible. So now the tour will take its talents away from its headquarters in Ponte Vedra Beach to Tampa for the Valspar Championship. Okay, so we're looking at odds here on the screen. I know we talked a lot of like DFS this morning. Reed, who do you got as like a safer option in your eyes
for DFS or for?
Yeah, I was thinking DFS. Just a real quick hit on DFS, and then we can talk a bunch of odds.
Yeah, I mean, safe option. I mean, you obviously want guys who can make the cut, right?
Yeah,
and that's going to be a premium this week, especially for those guys who played 15 days and 4 rounds last week. But, I think any one of the top guys, I think is a safe bet.
But in that 10K area, Reed?
Yeah, in that 10K area. I'd probably say my favorite is Shane Lowry at 9,700. I've talked about him quite a bit. And you just take a look at what he's done in Florida and a lot of these international guys. And I'm a little worried about fatigue for good old Shane. Not necessarily because he celebrated his top 15 players or he celebrated after that hole-in-one. But, it's a lot of rounds for Big Shane. It's a lot of rounds for guys like that. For Big Shane-O. But I love what he's doing, man. He just seems, when I watch him play, he seems like a guy who gets it in the fairway, doesn't make big mistakes, and his putting is fantastic. Par 5 scoring has been solid. And you take a look at what he did last week, par 5 scoring, he gained 3.5 on the 5s. And that's what you need here, right? I think that was 12th highest. And his tee to green game was solid. It was solid, especially the last 2 rounds. That's really what I looked at as well, is that he was 7th highest in tee to green in his last 2 rounds. And, when you talk about that, especially here where short game and putting is going to be just as important as ball striking, especially towards the winners and top 5, I like Shane Lowry quite a bit.
All right, Jeff, who do you like? I can't remember who you gave us the other day.
I mean, I like starting with Justin Thomas, which isn't really a hot take. He's the favorite in the odds, and he's 11K. I just feel like this is a player who, look, Justin Thomas, 14-time tour winner. He hasn't won over a year. I mean, he looks ready to win to me.
Yep.
He's been fine. Like the around the green game was good last week. Everything was good ball striking. He had like the one mistake on 17 to bring it home. But I mean, you look at this field and who do we want to trust here? I mean, I know Morikawa and Hovland, they're great around the green. They can sometimes be lacking. Schauffele just seems overpriced to me. Dustin Johnson is the other big name that I'm definitely interested in. Obviously just ended with like a fantastic round last week.
It tied a course record. It was a 63.
Yeah, I mean, what did he chip in for eagle in the last or something? I can't remember.
He did.
Right. So he's interesting, but like, I will lean slightly towards JT between those two. JT's Florida record is great. He lives here. He lives in the state. He plays a ton. He's won 2 big events here already, the Honda and the Players last year, obviously. So this will be his 6th time playing the Valspar. He's got another win on a course at Quail Hollow, which is very comparable to here. He's done well at Riviera. So these longer, like more classic kind of par 71s, he's done great at. And I just think that he's very close, and I'll take him right now, even over these young guns, especially in a field like this. I think he's closer than the other guys. Hovland's obviously very close too. I mean, he needs to just like have a good week around the greens. But that to me is like an actual flaw in his game, if that makes sense. I don't know if he can just flip a switch. JT, we're just waiting for him to gain a bunch of strokes putting and get some confidence. And that will probably come, and it may even come this week. So I don't even mind betting JT this week because I just look at this field. I mean, I don't mind Lowry either. I think Lowry, like Reed said, I think he's a safe play. He's doing everything well right now, but who do we really like with upside down here? I mean, Hatton's been gaining 1 million strokes putting. Fitzpatrick is Fitzpatrick. Fleetwood's probably going to miss the cut again.
That was Lynn's pick.
After he's grabbed pencil Fitzpatrick in for a team 9 or whatever, and like 4 birdies through the whole week. Great. I mean, I just don't really see like a ton of anything to get excited for. So to me, this is a field where I think you can go to the top of the board, and maybe your guy is Hovland, and maybe you're just like, Jeff, you're an idiot. Hovland's gaining 9 strokes on approach. Doesn't need his short game.
This guy.
You do miss a lot of greens at the Valspar, and I think that's going to show. And I think Justin Thomas is in a very good spot to break that winless drought this week. So
yeah.
Well, over on the sports book here, dudes, let's go long shots first, and we'll kind of like work our way up.
Let's start with mid-tier shot. Okay, you want to start from
go ahead. Whatever you want. You want to go mid-tier? I just didn't want to start at the top because we just talked a lot about some of those guys. Unless you want to hit on them again, the sports betting side of things.
We can start with the scrubs. Tell me where you want to go, Reed.
Yeah,
over 100. Let's go to the Panama. Let's go to CP Dan, baby. Plus 14,000. And look at what Jeff just mentioned. Genesis played well. He's got some good finishes in Florida recently. And this is a guy that can pop at these type of courses. We've seen it time and time again. that a guy like CT Pan, who saw with his ball striking, gets that meatball rolling into the hole. That's what you want to see. And look, there's a lot of guys like Joel Dahman too at the same number. Like, why is he there? Like Joe Dahman doesn't belong, next to guys like Brendan. I'm sorry. And Grayson Sig and Matthias, Schwab. Like, I like CT Pan and Joe Dahman as a deeper guys in this range. And there's a couple of Canadians that I like as well, but I'll leave that to the mid range. So I like CT Pan as one of my favorite long shots.
Okay. Anyone down this neck of the woods here?
I got to be honest. I do like that CT Pan call. He's already popped with the top 10 this year. And like some of these guys that we're talking down here. Okay. Like we talk about the ball striking of Svensson. Kazarki with the putter too. Marty Laird's been striking it well. So is Doc Redman. But like Pan is a guy who can kind of do everything, and he can get hot around the greens. Like he's got a good around the green game, and he can get hot with the putter. Martin Laird's not gaining you 5 strokes putting. Neither is Doc Redman, most likely. And Redman sucks around the green. So is Laird. So I think Pan is actually like more live to win than those guys. Like he's probably a better outright bet. If you want to bet Redman top 20, which I actually did this week, that's fine. But for a win bet, I would go to a guy like CT Pan too. Target the guy who can putt a little bit. And if his irons show up, that'll be great. So I'm going to go up a little bit because it is interesting on the DK Sportsbook. Like this week, it feels like they've vastly like overpriced a couple guys at the top, like Louis and probably Fitzpatrick. I can't remember what his number is now, but if you look down further, I think there's actually very good opportunities on a couple on a handful of players that we saw play pretty well last week. Aaron Wise, it's a player gained like 6 strokes ball striking. Like he was smashing the ball. I was
just about to ask you what you thought about him.
Okay, good. That's good. He's a guy who's played well at the Wells Fargo too, which I think is a very good event to look at for correlation. And he just needs to get hot with the putter. His putter is up and down, and you'll need it to show up this week. But he's got a more refined short game than I think people realize. So I think Aaron Wise at plus 8,000 is very good. And then why not go back to our boy Emerson? Why not? The one who knocks. Russell.
Oh, dude, hey. I'm telling you, top 40 finish for him is a lock this week once again.
I mean, why not? He's hitting every fairway. He's gaining fairways on the field.
His
long approaches are great, and he showed up with confidence around the greens and with the putter last week. And if you're going to back Russell Knox, do it at a less than driver course. It's a course with lots of little dog legs. It's less the average driving distance. This is where he shows up. He's played very well here, 6 of 7 cuts. I'm surprised he's at plus 7,000. Like he should not have bigger odds to me than Hadwin. He shouldn't have big. He should be like the same as Fleetwood. I really do believe that this week. He's a good player. He's a multiple time tour winner. If that putter gets hot, Russell Knox will be in contention this week.
3 consecutive top 25s here too for Russell Knox.
Oh, it's a good track for Russell Knox. It's the perfect kind of setup
because there's a premium on ball striking. There's a premium on ball striking. Scoring isn't like crazy low. So like you're going to see a lot of these guys probably choking up a little bit, like on the driver, like on the tee box.
Yeah. And that's why I think Gary Woodland, who's right at 5 plus 5,000. That's like the typical course that you want Gary at, is get that 3-wood in your hand, do that little butter cut a la Samir Daouk, right off the tee, baby. And that's what you need. He's a guy that 2 top 5 finishes in the last 3 weeks, both on Florida courses, a chance to win at Bay Hill, a solid chance if he doesn't chunk one out of the sand where you saw that dark sand come up. Right? That was really bad. Like when you see the dark sand come up out of the bunker, that is really bad stuff. You're really chopping out sand. But he's someone that, similar to what Jeff was saying, right? I don't think he should be at plus 5,000, especially because he won here in 2011 at the Transition Glasses Championship. That was his first win on the PGA Tour. So you got there's some good juju, some good vibes here. And look, he mentioned it, right? When he back at Bay Hill, I think when he lost at some point, maybe it was at PGA National, he's like these 2 tests of golf aren't going to be as hard as what it's going to be at Valspar. So back then, 3 weeks ago, he was already thinking about Copperhead. And at a course that, look, this is his best shot to win, right? He's not going to go to these other courses and compete. Gary Woodland is someone at plus 5,000 that, look, I like Russell Knox, but Mackenzie Hughes, Jeff, That's who I want to talk about. Maybe more DFS play. I bet him top 10 just because it's sort of a feel thing, right? The stats are going to line up. I'm not going to belabor, like, and try and manipulate the stats. Be like, oh, this guy is going to be fantastic here, because they're not great. He's pretty much break even in ball striking over his last two tournaments. I think he got the bad side of the tee draw last week. But what have we seen from Hughes in these stronger type of fields, less than driver type of courses? He came runner up at the Honda Classic 2 years ago to Sanjay when he won, and he was really in contention then at a difficult course. And like 4 years ago, I know that's dating way back, he was top 20 at the Players Championship. And I think here he was 15th or top 15 in 2019, sandwiched between two missed cuts, mind you. But we know that course history here doesn't necessarily matter unless you're Paul Casey. Right? Unless you're Paul Casey and you win back-to-back, right? Like, it does not a huge barometer of success or indicator of success. So Mackenzie Hughes is someone that I'm very, very interested in. That's why I went away from Russell Knox. Seabez is fine, but like, I'd rather go Gary, rather go someone like a Mackenzie Hughes top 10, and then, dabble in the deeper range, because in Florida, expect the unexpected. The one thing about Svensson, like, I don't think my heart can take the 3-foot missed putts with Svensson anymore. Like
I know
it is. It's a mental thing with him. It's a mental thing with Louis in round 4. It's a mental thing with Zalatoris with these short putts, because these guys are so good.
But in 3 months, Reed's literally not going to be able to talk about anyone, because he's just going to have everyone is going to be on his
it's everybody, dude.
Look, I'm fine with missing like 10
play Colin Morikawa, and like, you can't. I don't have anything else because I hate everyone.
you miss 4-foot putts, you're on the never again list, Jack. You can't miss 4-foot putts. That is missing a layup.
Right.
If you miss a layup in the NBA, you're out.
Yeah, you
I
really
like
are.
the Mackenzie Hughes call for DFS. I absolutely do. You look at that range too, just to give people some kind of modicum of analysis here. Aaron Wise, Bezaden, whatever. They're going to soak up ownership, right? And Hughes coming off the miscut, everyone sees that. So I do like that call for DFS. I think that's kind of the pivot play. I mean, I think all three of those guys are viable, but Hughes' upside, I think, is very similar. We've seen that. So I definitely don't mind that call at all. And Hughes is a good punter, so he should make you happy from that perspective, at least, Reed. Maybe he'll be sinking some 20-footers for double bogey, but at least he'll sink his putts.
Maybe that's why I like Hughes. Is like, just please don't miss putts. Just finish like 33rd, like Russell Knox, and don't miss putts, or like top 10. But what are we doing with Webb? Because this is what I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on. Is like Webb Simpson is something like if you told us that last year that Webb was going to be 55-1 in like a field like this, right? Like, you'd be like, oh, sign me up, right? I think he's also in like the mid 7s for DFS and salary. He's not been playing well. He's dealt with an injury, but boy, I mean, if this course plays more towards the Carolinas type of track, right? Elevation changes, tree line, dog legs, like not as penal of water hazards as most Florida courses. Doesn't that set up for guys like Kiz and Webb Simpson?
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I mean, you can take a shot with Webb this week. I mean, I wouldn't fault anyone for doing it. It's a good track for him too, much like it is for Russell Knox, and they do a lot of the same things well. Webb just gets really hot with his putter and around the greens. At some point, Webb, we'll see Webb come back. I mean, I have no doubt about that. He's just too talented not to. So 8,300, the price is right. The safe play down there, I don't know if there is a safe play. I mean, I was going to say Woodland, I can't say safe in Keegan, but let's put it this way. If I was starting a betting card and I wasn't going to bet anyone at the top, I would be okay starting with Woodland and maybe sprinkling in Webb. I do like Alex Noren this week, and I'm glad that he's not cheap, because if he was around the same price as Webb Simpson, he'd probably be the Uber chalk. But because he's $400 more expensive than Webb, I think Noren will stay low owned. And he's 55-1. He's gained over 5 strokes on approach. He can get red hot with the putter too. So in a lot of ways, he does the same things as Webb. He's just playing well. And I'm not saying Alex Noren is as good as Webb Simpson. Webb Simpson's extremely talented, but Noren's like a 15-time winner or something with professional wins over his career, something to that effect. He could certainly get it done. So I like Noren better from the recent form, but if I'm looking at this range, Noren, Woodland, Webb, probably my favorite dudes. You can make a case for pretty much everyone here, maybe other than like Day or Tringali, who's kind of gone back. I think Tringali's star has burned out. I think he's finally, we can eject him from the list. So
get out of here, Tringali.
Yeah,
I like. I'm taking Bubba Watson. Bubba Watson's my pick this week. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. He was $100 more than Noren. So I think he's like I think he's $8,800 in fantasy, but I'm taking him here on the sports book.
It's a Bubba track, man. It is a Bubba track.
That's why I like him. I liked what he did that second round in Sawgrass, which was one stroke better than Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas was the one making all the headlines on that windy day. He's the one who shot a 68 though. Another number I found, he's gained 1.5 strokes per round over 22 rounds at the Valspar in his career. So best mark in the field of anyone with that many rounds. Also, the countless dog legs, dude's going to get creative. He's going to get weird with that driver. Give it to me all day.
Par fins
Let's go.
Too, man.
Punch it.
Like he can score on the par fives.
Yeah.
That's his MO. Like,
he is going to be creative as hell.
That weird choppy putting, like that kind of worries you, but he's played well here. A lot of people like Bubba. It's not a bad call.
Likes his greens too. Like it's just, I mean, he's got like 5 tracks that he likes, and this is one of them. So
yeah, this is okay.
Okay.
Like that.
All right.
That's it. I got Shane Lowry. You got Bubba Watson. Jeff Louie. Who's your guy?
No, or I'll go with Noren this week.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right.
I mean, I
like it.
I think you could start
Brendan Glasheen, a nice, respectable text.
Foot pick. Okay.
I'm gonna make a lineup with all
chicken.
these dudes in it. So we got, who is it? Noren, Lowry, and
Watson.
Bubba, right?
Yeah.
And Reed, you did. Right now. Okay. Reed, you said it's going to be windy again. We got to get out of here, but I know it's
Friday.
If there's a Friday
afternoon, gusts 20+ miles per hour, sustained 17. So hold on to your butts.
Yeah, Friday afternoon may be the wave to fade.
Yeah,
definitely,
dude. I tell you what, luck played into the players this past week. Like just where you landed on the tee sheet, like. Holy hell, luck's never fallen into play that much.
Yeah. And you were there.
Saturday. Well, I was there Saturday on we were right there on 16, where we had a view of 17. And we're just sitting there. I'm just like, oh, chili dip. I was telling everybody the water balls. You're just like, I was like, yeah, my buddy Reed's just like chili dip.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there sucking down seltzers and I'm like, chili dip.
Go to Emerson's IG and look at the Ponte Vedra tuxedo that he was wearing. It was fantastic.
So great, dude. I love it, man. Just ZFGs when I'm there in town at home. Jeff, good seeing you today, man. Reed, good seeing you. That's a great show. It's a fun show. And we'll do it again next Wednesday. Again, highest rated edition of the Slate. Are you guys on the sweat tomorrow morning for anything?
I think so.
No, I'm not. I'm off tomorrow.
I can't remember.
Okay.
What's tomorrow? Wednesday?
Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday. No, tomorrow's Thursday. All right, cool. I'll see you maybe tomorrow, dude. I gotta go.
I got a lot to do.